I'm the best.
Oh no, you're not. I'm the best. Look, can we just stop arguing and agree that I'm the best?
So, what are you the best at? I've no idea now you come to mention it.
All this time we've been fighting for no reason. I've lost all purpose.
Well, maybe you're the best at banging sticks together. Oh, I'm definitely the best at that.
No, you're not. I bang sticks together better than anyone. I think you'll find I'm the champion stick banger around here.
I'm the best.
No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best.
No, I'm the best.
I'm the best. No, I'm the best.
Welcome. What? Welcome back to Kippy's Quest. This week we're looking at the Five of Wands, a card of struggle and competition. It can also be a card of trickery and pranks, according to the wonderful Monty, who's the only voice of reason on this ridiculously stupid channel. Hang on, I didn't write this.
Haha, got you! I've also proven how useless you are without the auto cue.
I don't need the auto cue, I'm a professional.
I'll turn it off then, shall I?
Fine, I don't care. So, tarot, eh? Okay, turn it back on.
Ha ha!
So as I was attempting to say, the Five of Wands is a card of conflict, but not necessarily in a serious way. It can be about healthy competition between people, and how that can spur us on to do good things. As for the cards themselves, the Marseillan Sforza look very similar to their previous offerings.
Speaking of looking similar, didn't you use that same Sforza card in last week's video?
Yes, I accidentally used the 5 in the video for the 4.
And why was that then?
Because they all look the bloody same. There's the 5, there's the 4, spot the difference.
Well, it's easy enough if you can count.
Okay, I'll be more careful in future.
I should jolly well hope so.
The Solar Busker card offers a very useful solution to anyone who needs to transport 5 wands and a giant pair. The Thoth deck is heavy on the Golden Dawn imagery this time. Crowley says the symbol represents the wand of the Chief Adept, showing that the authority is derived from the superiors. Were it not so, the card would be thoroughly disastrous. Ooh. Anyway, we've got 3 different types of wands on there, belonging to the Minor, Major and Chief Adepts of the Golden Dawn. As usual, we've also got the planetary and zodiac symbols on the shaft. We'll get to those later, but first let's see what Eteila's got to say about it.
One hopes by the multiplicity of forces, by hands so necessary in agricultural life, to collect the treasures that it only dispenses to the most laborious.
Wise words there. I'm sure you'll all agree that's definitely something we can all live by. The Wade Smith card shows the classic design of 5 young men banging their wands together. Wade says a posse of youths. I just love the language of those old occultists. He sounds like he's complaining about some kids messing around on the bus.
Quite right.
A posse of youths who are brandishing staves as if in sport or strife. It is mimic warfare. So this shows the idea of the card being more about play fighting and competition than any serious conflict. I think that was the idea that Pixie wanted to illustrate in her version. Rachel Pollack says they seek not to destroy but only to compete for the sheer joy of action.
The Hermetic title for the Five of Wands is Lord of Strife.
So the title leans more toward the conflict element of the card, and that's certainly the case with the Thoth Tarot. The dictionary definition of strife is angry or bitter disagreement over fundamental issues, so it can represent arguments between people about the best way to move forward. It can also symbolise the struggles that we sometimes face individually when we're trying to work towards something. If we've got ambitions, then you can guarantee that there'll be some obstacles on the way to achieving those ambitions.
The Five of Wands corresponds to the Leo zodiac sign and to the planet Saturn.
So it's Saturn in Leo for this one. This is an interesting combination and can go either way. Leo is a sign of confidence, drive and charisma. Saturn, on the other hand, is a planet of responsibility, practicality and setting boundaries and limitations. According to Aleister Crowley, it is ruled also by Saturn and Leo. Leo shows the element of fire at its strongest and most balanced. Saturn tends to weigh it down and to embitter it. Which brings us to that definition of strife that we were talking about earlier. Now there's good news and bad news when it comes to this particular combination. The good news is that this can lead to a high level of discipline and focus. If the drive and ambition of Leo can be channeled in a constructive way, it can lead to a strong sense of purpose and direction. The bad news is that it can also mean a loss of self-confidence due to the restricting influence of Saturn. It can manifest itself as limiting beliefs that make us doubt our abilities and see the level of competition to be too high for us to stand a chance in what we're trying to do. However, as with all the negatives, there is always the potential for self-discovery and growth.
The Five of Wands resides in the world of Absolute and sits at the 5th Sephiroth of Geburah on the Pillar of Severity. The name of this Sephiroth translates to severity.
So we're at Geburah this time, the Sephira of Severity. Now it's important that we don't just focus on the negative aspects of this particular Sephira. Geburah is the balancing counterpoint to the loving and merciful Sephira of Hesed, which we talked about in the last video. It's easy to look at the aggressive aspect of Geburah and think that it's only a sphere of conflict and aggravation, but we need to remember that it also embodies strength and the ability to assert ourselves and exercise our judgment. In a garden of pomegranates, Israel Regardie says Hesed gives rise to Geburah, which is essentially a reflection of Binah. Geburah, meaning strength or power, is the 5th Sephira, feminine, and to it is given the divine name of Elohim Gibor, the mighty gods.
The Five of Wands herb is turmeric. This herb is sacred in the Hindu religion and can be used to banish evil spirits.
But what does it all mean?
When the Five of Wands appears, it usually symbolises conflict, competition and struggle. As with all the cards, that can be positive or negative depending on the context. Waite says imitation, as for example sham fight, but also the strenuous competition and struggle of the search after riches and fortune. In this sense, it connects with the battle of life. In a career sense, it can indicate coming up against challenges in whatever you're trying to achieve, so the card can be a reminder to stay motivated and push through whatever obstacles come up in your path. In a relationship situation, it can be a card of disagreement and competing interests. We can see that as a need to stand up for yourself and fight for what you want. However, it can also be telling you to try and find some common ground so you can move beyond these conflicts and work together. Finally, we've got the thrill of action and the exhilaration of competition. This is what the Wands are all about. Rachel Pollack says it is in the nature of Wands to see life as a battle, but in its best sense, battle becomes an exciting struggle, eagerly sought after.
Card 31 announces numerous disputes on insignificant issues and during gastronomic encounters.
I'm sure we've all had a few gastronomic encounters.
If the questioner is an adolescent, he will soon have an argument with a lady he has recently gotten to know.
Ooh, it sounds like someone's in the doghouse.
It announces that this dispute will take place during a meal.
Might be an idea to avoid using any sharp cutlery at dinner for a while. When the Five of Wands appears upside down, it can be a slightly darker meaning, and that the competition has become more of a literal battle. Rachel Pollack says the exciting competition right up implies a sense of rules and fair play. Reversed, the card indicates that the rules are being abandoned, that in fact the battle has taken on a more serious, nastier tone.
In the reverse, this card predicts trials, quarrels, but these will conclude to your advantage.
See? I told you that the moon wasn't actually made out of cheese.
They lied to me.
The big takeaway for the Five of Wands is the concepts of conflict and struggles. When we're working to achieve a goal, it's inevitable that we're going to come up against some obstacles, and likely some confrontations with other people. But we've got to keep going. As the saying goes, if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. Before I go, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you for watching, liking and commenting. It really does mean the world to me. I'm right at the beginning of this journey, and I have good days and bad days with it, but your support really helps to keep me going.
Thank you once again for joining us on Kippy's Quest. May the coming days bring you resoluteness and the presence of mind to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.